Posted by you/person_shaped. I, 18F, am getting married in the middle of October to my boyfriend, 19M. We're planning a smaller scale wedding with mostly just friends and family, and considering that we both have large extended families, it has definitely been a challenge planning for that many people. For a general idea of how big my family is, my mom alone has 7 siblings, all of whom have children of their own. With our small budget, I was considering redesigning or upcycling a wedding gown instead of devoting a large amount of money to a brand new dress. I mentioned my plans to a couple of people and was in the process of exploring options when my mom's oldest sister's daughter, my cousin, reached out to me. Megan, 40F, got married in 2015. The marriage didn't last long, and they divorced soon after. I barely remember her husband, as he never came to family gatherings, and Megan and my mom aren't particularly close, so I was surprised she was offering something so significant after such a long time of distance. Regardless, Megan offered to give me her wedding dress, as it was my size, and she knew we were trying to avoid spending a lot on a small budget. I loved the idea, and the dress was beautiful. I made sure she was comfortable giving it to me rather than loaning it, and she assured me that it held no emotional significance and that she didn't care if she no longer had to hold on to it. I thanked her and took the dress home. One thing about me, however, is that I am a very chaotic seamstress, and I make the majority of my own clothes. While I did love the original dress, I wanted to make some small changes to the hem and neckline to fit the theme better. The original dress had a super full skirt with a long hem, and since my wedding is outdoors, I wanted to make sure it wouldn't be dragging in the dirt. So, I took off some layers from the underside, removed the trim, and removed the sleeves to tighten the bodice. I was so happy with how it turned out, and my mom and friends agreed that it was perfect. Here's when the trouble started. My mom had taken a picture of me trying on the dress and decided to send it to Megan along with another thank you. However, Megan responded with a cold comment over text and called me later that night. She said I should have asked her permission before ruining her dress, and that if I thought it was so ugly, I should have bought my own. I tried to explain that the changes I made were small and that I did ask beforehand if she wanted the dress back afterward. She blew up at me, saying it was too different and that she could never wear it again, even though she never gave the impression that she wanted to, and she had previously mentioned that she has no interest in getting remarried ever. I asked her what she wanted me to do, and she snapped that it was too late. She hung up and has apparently been telling people I slutted out her wedding dress and made sure to embarrass her by outdoing the original dress. I don't know what to do about it. The wedding is far too close to consider making myself a new dress, and I've set my heart on having something unique and personal for my wedding. Her mother called both me and my mom, saying I should have asked and that I'm a spoiled brat for taking advantage of Megan's kindness and generosity. My parents and a few family members I've spoken to think I should uninvite Megan and just wear the dress, but my aunt insists that I would break Megan's heart unless I find something else. Should I give up on my dress and look for other options? Edit. To provide some context and answer a few questions, Megan and I are not very close, partly due to the age gap and our different lifestyles. Megan is the 3rd cousin out of 21, I am the 9th. Megan, being the first girl child in the family, grew up with a lot of expectations and pressure and ended up marrying a very religious and controlling husband. After her divorce, Megan went through what can best be described as a breakthrough and reevaluation of her life and ambitions. Since then, she has completely changed her job, appearance, and opinions. She is no longer an active participant in family events and only attends important ones like birthdays, funerals, and weddings. Despite this, we have never had any issues between us, and our interactions have always been civil and kind. Secondly, the alterations I made were only to the skirt and bodice. The slutted out comment apparently came from my removal of the sleeves, turning it into a sleeveless top, and raising the hem to a T-length, which now exposes my ankles. Someone pointed out to me that Megan's anger might be rooted in her own self-esteem issues, as she has naturally grown and gained weight since then, which I can definitely see as a factor, even though she is still beautiful. Thank you to everyone for your kind messages and loving support. You've all made me feel so much better, and I truly appreciate you taking the time to comment. Update 5 days later. As of yesterday, I found out from my fiancé that Megan had reached out to him with false concern about how my home-style dress gave the wrong idea about our wedding and had the audacity to ask him, the man I've been in love with for nearly 3 years, if he was sure he wanted to marry a woman who wouldn't put in the effort of getting a proper dress. She says this as if I hadn't spent weeks sewing the dress to make sure it was perfect. Thank goodness my fiancé wasn't upset by her attitude and responded that I had put way more effort into the dress than she put into her marriage, and that shut her up real fast. She turned around and apparently has been crying to my elderly grandparents, her mother, some of the other cousins, etc., that I am a trashy WHRE with a cheap shotgun wedding. I'm not even pregnant. Lamau, with a fiancé who is only interested in our family's money. My fiancé is a mechanic, and regardless of the fact that he is doing really well and makes a pretty good salary, she still seems to think he's beneath her. Some of my older cousins, the ones I don't talk to as much, have actually expressed concern about whether or not they want to attend the ceremony at all. I blamed my aunt for spreading misinformation, which I managed to assure them wasn't true. After all of this, I reached out to Megan, saying that because of all her comments and insults, she is no longer invited to the wedding. I admitted that I was sorry for the situation, but I can't keep pardoning her rude comments on what is supposed to be a happy time in my life. She snapped that she wouldn't show her face at my pathetic excuse for a wedding, and that she can't wait to see how I act when he leaves me. Overall, I am pretty confident that Megan and my relationship might not recover, but at this point, I don't regret anything. Here's hoping everything else cools down in the next couple of weeks and I can go into our day with no negativity at all. Second update 2 months later. Hi everyone, I made a post on this subreddit a few months ago about my wedding dress and all the surrounding drama that came with it. My wedding was 6 days ago, and I was asked to provide an update, so I'm happy to share how it all went down. I'm still so happy with how my dress turned out and was very glad to have shortened the train, as there had been rain the night before and morning dew on the grass. The shorter hemline saved me a lot of mess and damage in the long run. Plus, I felt beautiful, and it made such a special day all the more amazing. I had told my cousin, Megan, that her behavior was rude and unnecessary, and that I did not want her bringing her unpleasantness to my day. However, her mother, who had been one of her primary supporters, had apologized in order to attend the ceremony. So, while Megan herself was not actually at the wedding, I had not completely excluded the issue. Megan's mother, 71F, my aunt, is your basic senior white woman and usually expresses her opinions in a loud and unspoken manner, so I was uneasy at the beginning when she arrived. She didn't make a fuss during the ceremony, though, and everything went smoothly. I sneezed while walking down the aisle, but that wasn't anyone's fault in particular. The reception was in an outdoor garden where we had set up under a gazebo with a temporary floor for tables and, eventually, dancing, with a slightly elevated platform for the head table and speeches. This is where my aunt decided to make sure everyone knew about her daughter's dress. After a few speeches, following my friend's champagne-fueled rendition of That Time We Went Camping and the Tent Slid Down a Hill, she made her way up to the podium. She started her speech in the usual, unassuming way, congratulating us and remarking on how far we've come as people. Unfortunately, she decided to tie this statement into a comment of, "You've even made your own dress." I mean, not really, actually, it was Megan's first. She then went on about how she remembered shopping for the dress with Megan for her own wedding, going on and on about how it was perfect and made for her. At this point in the speech, I was just staring at her in confusion, while my husband and everyone else sat there awkwardly, waiting for her to finish. She concluded with a half-hearted backtrack, saying I looked lovely and wishing us good luck in our marriage. She then ambled back to her seat, looking entirely too proud of herself. Other than that, the only other trouble she caused was apparently showing everyone that she had a photo of the original dress, which, in the grand scheme of things, wasn't that bad. I'm so happy that my family and friends were able to be there and celebrate with us, and I can't wait to see what comes next. Thank you again to everyone who commented and reassured me in the beginning. You've all been so kind. Who knows, I might even dye the dress another color and keep it around just in case an appropriate event comes up. Wink wink.